all time, and Deshaun Jackson released from the Philadelphia Eagles. This and more coming up on the Main Event Status Sports Show, brought to you by Haps TV. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Main Event Status Sports Show. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. This show, of course, is brought to you by Haps TV. If you haven't done so, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Join Haps TV. If you are a local podcaster and you would like to get, paid for your work, you out there, you want to make a couple of extra dollars, or you want to reach a bigger audience, this is the place you need to be. And guess what? I can help you do so. Just DM me and I will give you the link to join. Shout out to my brother Mike Patton joining in from Nashville. The NBA MVP race. I want to know, what do y'all think when it comes down to MVP? Right now, some would say LeBron James is leading. Some others would say Joel Embiid is leading. You look at stats, you look at the scores, you also look at team records. Most of the time when people are doing this, the Lakers are 22-8, where the Philadelphia 76ers are 19-10. Obviously, they're number one. I'm not gonna say obviously. Let me take that back. They're number one. It seems as if they play. The other teams have lost less. Brooklyn seems to have found themselves as they are 19-12. So this is certainly interesting. Um, I'm looking at this and I'm wondering, who would you pick as MVP? Me, I'm always going to pick LeBron James, quite frankly. I'm going to be straight up. I think that LeBron James has really solidified himself as the MVP for years. When you look at each and every time he leaves a team, every time LeBron leaves a team, go downhill. Every time he joins a team, they go upward. They're always a shoe in for the finals. I know people will say, well, um they look at the scores, they look at the stats, and Mike says, I think Donovan Mitchell is not getting enough MVP love right now. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, he's somebody who's really taking his game to the next level. We honestly, I mean, they're 24-5. That is a huge deal. 13-2 at home, 11-3 on the road. Pandemic or not, and they're on a 9-game win streak. Now I understand they got some tough games coming up, but here's the thing: no matter what, you gotta beat the teams that they put in front of you. If you're a good team, good teams beat up on bad teams or not so great teams. So I look at it like, that's good. That's what they're supposed to do. Donovan Mitchell averaged at 24.2 points a game. He's getting about 4.4 rebounds, 5.1 assists per game. Mike Conley has always been one of those solid players that, if you've been paying attention, he's always been a solid player. Rudy Gobert, 13.4 points a game. Excuse me, rebounds, leading his team, and he's averaging 14.2 points a game. I know he's what they consider like a max player. I guess I just look at it from the old days of the big man. I don't know. Ted Hicks, thanks for joining in. He says Brooklyn stand up, and he says hashtag Dame Dollar honorable mention. Yeah, I think you definitely got to give Dame Lillard. He does, like, they're 18-10, but he's like that guy, that nucleus, right? And he's one of them players that he is must-see TV. I don't care what y'all say. Let's be real, folks. In the past 20 years, Portland was okay, with the exception of I guess people call them the Jailblazers, but they wasn't that franchise. They wasn't your dad's Portland Trailblazers. They wasn't that franchise that you always look forward to. Now you look forward to them being on television, and it's because Dame Dollar. It's simply because of him. They'll be a top seed heading into the playoffs, meaning, top four. So I'm interested to see what happens. Definitely an improvement from last year, being the eighth seed. But I definitely wanted to think you got to give Damian Lillard a lot of credit as far as that's concerned, and it's always fun when it's Dame time, and it's not fun when he's going against your team. I can tell you that. I also look at I respect Joel Embiid, right? I do. I love the fact that he's kind of bringing somewhat of that big man magic back. Not really thrilled on big men shooting threes, but hey, that's the way the game is. I understand, but give him credit where credit is due. So, shout out to him. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm always rolling with the king. I think LeBron James is the MVP of the league each and every year when you think about what the words stand for. Now, if you're going to change it and we say it's the most statistician or the guy who has the best stats award, okay, he wouldn't get it every year. But when you look at the most valuable player award, the most valuable player to a team, to me, it gets no better than LeBron James, and that's every year. Every year, to me, he's the MVP. I said this time and time again. Every year, that's just the way it is because you just look at what he does. Thanks, Ted, for the award. The appreciate you award. I really appreciate you for that. Um, so says the East Coast fans don't get to see pack Northwest teams hashtag time zones. You're right. Shout out to Mark Goldman. Thanks, Mark. I really appreciate the award. Thanks for the teamwork dream work award. Mark, who's your MVP? The NBA, when you look back at things, I said I like LeBron James. And that's right. The East Coast fans don't really, unless you stay up, the time zones are a killer. And they do re-air the games, but it's not the same, but I would like to see more light shine. I think they do a good job, obviously, with the Lakers and the Blazers, and that's the thing about Damian Lillard too. Damian Lillard has made the Blazers a must-see team for Sports Center. A must. We got to include that segment. When I worked there, depending on which games, there was like the bigger the more experienced highlight producers who were putting on those, I should say, production assistants who were assigned those games. Obviously, I don't work there anymore, but if I had to take a guess, I would say that the Portland Trailblazers are one of those teams that gets assigned a more experienced production assistant or content associate, even more so than the Jazz, because the Jazz aren't walking Hollyroods. Any given night, when Damian Lillard's on the court, he could make you go, wow, he can go viral. Damian Lillard can go viral at any given moment, whether it's hitting a game-winning shot or hitting crossover or a buzzer beater. And that's why he is must-see TV. Mike says, I'm a Bulls fan, and Zach LaVine has 78 clutch points, which is second to Dame Lillard. Not an MVP candidate, but he been hooping. He says, I wish I had an NBA opinion, but I haven't been following the NBA closely this year. Yeah, definitely understand that. It always, to me, it gets interesting after the All-Star game. Just the nature of the way the season is. Yeah, Zach LaVine has definitely been good. I've been seeing a lot of rescue Zach memes. The Bulls sitting at 12 and 15. I would like to see them turn around. I think the Bulls are one of those teams that the NBA does well when they're doing well. Obviously, they've only had one winner, being that Bulls dynasty with Michael Jordan, and unlike the Lakers and the Celtics, where they can really rely on. With the Lakers now, four eras. You look at the Will Chamberlain era, the Magic Johnson, Magic Kareem era, the Kobe and Shaq. I mean, and then we're gonna say Kobe, because you could even throw a fifth era if you wanted to stretch it. But now the LeBron and Anthony Davis era. So the Lakers have had that prestige. The Celtics, it's the Paul Pierce, the Larry Birds, the Bill Russell era. So the Bulls, unfortunately, they only had the Michael Jordan era. It would have been nice to see Derrick Rose and his team win one. Unfortunately, we never seen that. And he said, Bulls could turn around. They will be in the tournament edition this year. So, and that would be fun to see. Like I said, they're good for the culture. You look at the uniforms and stuff, they are good for the culture. Switching gears here, NBA All Stars was announced. I think it's not really much of a surprise as far as the West was concerned. And let me pull it up. I thought I had it. Yes, I don't think it's a surprise. Great. But I do know LeBron James, um, Damian, no, what is it? No, hold on. NBA All Stars. LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Steph Curry. Those are definitely the shooters. I got to Luca is obviously in there, and I believe it's Jokic. I'm not 100. Yeah, Jokic is in there. So I think the West got it right. I do. I think they got it right as far as the starters are concerned. The East, I'm really happy about. Um, Really, really, really happy about the Eastern All-Star starters as we look. They got Kyrie Irving. Now, well, Joel Embiid, a given. Giannis, a given. Kyrie, yeah. Kevin Durant, obviously. And then they finally got it right. Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is starting in the All-Star game. So as much as I honestly don't want to see an All-Star game, not gonna lie, folks, I don't want to see one. I don't think they need one, considering everything. Probably won't be watching anyway. That's my anniversary weekend. Shout out to my wife. But anyway, I probably won't watch it or I'll catch the replay. But and Mike says he thinks PG should be in there over Kawhi. I think PG is more personality and more box office. Let's look at the numbers though. Let's see if I can pull them up. Um, I think because it seems like Kawhi is just that guy is matter of fact, they play Utah tonight. So that will definitely be a game to watch. We'll pull this up. Excuse me. All right, so well, Kawhi is averaging at 26.7 points a game, where PG is averaging 24.4. PG has more rebounds and assists. So I can certainly see your argument, Mike, as far as that's concerned. But PG been rated R this year. Kyrie and KD, yes sir, says Ted Hicks. Ted, you're a Brooklyn fan, if I'm not mistaken, right? I believe you're a Brooklyn fan. Shout out to you guys. I says I've been seeing some talk about Blake Griffin being in a Laker uniform. I wonder how realistic that is. I gotta admit, y'all, I was never a big Blake Griffin fan. Never was, even when he was the Clippers, and not just because he played for the Clippers. I just never was. Says no All-Star game required this year. Money grab, TV money in play. No fans, right? What about All-Star game weekend festivities? Will that happen? Yeah, make you want. Yeah, it does make you wonder. Will that happen? Okay, Ted's from New York, so yes, he is a Brooklyn Nets fan. It does make you wonder if it's going to happen. You know, I think, but I do believe. I thought I saw something. They're gonna get in and then they're gonna get out. I may not be 100% sure, but I believe that's the way they're gonna do it. They'll get in, come in the day, play the All Star game, and they'll get right out. Blake fits this team in LA, honestly. Really? All right. So would you got Anthony Davis, you got Montrezl Harrell, and then I mean, I know and then you got Paul Gasol. So that would be interesting to see. I wonder if they're going to trade him, if I'm not mistaken, correct? I believe they're going to trade him. They're not going to do the whole release thing. So that's one thing that'll be interesting to see how this plays out. He said, I wanted to set the record straight. I was a fan of them. I want to set the record straight. This coming from Ted Hicks. I was a fan before they were in New Jersey, attended games in the 90s. Shout out to you. Shout out to my boy D Mac. He's the same way. He was the diehard Nets fan when I first met him, and the time when we met, it was around the time of the Deron Williams era, and it was right before they made the trade to get KD and Paul Pierce. So, I knew he was a diehard Nets fan. And when they acquired KD and Kyrie, I said, hey, I'm a Lakers fan, you're a Nets fan. Let's see each other in the finals coming up. So I think that's what we're getting this year. I don't care what anybody says. I think it's too much. It's too much money on the line. It's too many headlines. It's too much. Yeah, Giannis, he's going to try to be a disruptor. Philadelphia, they're going to try to be disruptors. In the end, I think the NBA will get what they want. And obviously, borrowing any type of injuries, it's just too much star power. You want to have a big three versus a dominant two. So I think that's what we're getting, folks. I really do. Um, but the playoffs will still be interesting. The playoffs will definitely be interesting. All right, they sitting them out, trying to trade him. but no one is taking that deal on. Yeah, nobody's gonna take that deal. I don't think so. I wouldn't see taking Blake Griffin. I mean, even let's be honest, the Pistons when they took him, they brought him on to really help sell tickets. That's all it was about. It wasn't about winning. And yeah, let's book it. Book it right now. Give me the book. Pencil it in. Lakers, Brooklyn, Nets. It's gonna happen. Mike Patton says he met Deron Williams once when he covered a Nets Nuggets game back a while back. So shout out to him. Hopefully he was nice. I wouldn't see why he wouldn't be. In NFL news today, Deshaun Jackson has been released from the Philadelphia Eagles, ending his second stint there. We all know he was injured quite a bit the past 2 seasons. So that's unfortunate. Quite frankly, I believe he shouldn't have never left. He should have been an Eagle for life. We all know what Chip Kelly did. He came in and took that team and ran ramsack all over it. But Deshaun Jackson should have been an Eagle for life. I mean, that bottom line, I don't care what anybody says. He fit like that was his team. Him and Shady McCoy. Now I know Shady done got 2 rings since, but those were his guys who they just felt like they should have been Eagles. I tell you, I was happy because everybody wasn't playing with them on Madden. I ain't had to go against them on Madden. But nonetheless, they should have been Eagles for life. Haven't gotten on here since, but Fernando Tatis Jr. If you don't know who he is, you will know soon because he just signed a mega deal with the San Diego Padres. Woo, man, oh man. They always say if if you have a child, put a baseball in his hand, and this is why. 14 years, $340 million. That is a lot of money. Now I ain't gonna lie. It's kind of like, okay, that's it. But then, because I'm thinking of Patrick Mahomes deal, to be honest with you. But it's still, no matter which way you look, that's a lot of money. You know, that's a lot of money. And he's only 22 years old. So I'm waiting to see. He's got the cover of MLB The Show this year. And I want to see what happens. Will he go out there and perform? Will he earn that money? You got him and Manny Machado. It's a lot of money San Diego is kicking out, but they obviously want to win. I said this. I was telling one of my friends who isn't like the biggest baseball fan. To me, the Dodgers winning it last year was they had to get it done. When you look at that core team, would you want to go down in history and say that was a team that never got it done, right? You look at the Braves. The Braves was a team that um you look at the big three in the pitchers, Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox, right? I don't know. I probably should have said Maddox, Smoltz, and Glavine. That was a team you saying, woo, they should have get it. They only got one World Series out of that whole bunch, but they got it done. So they're in history. Then you go back and look at the Indiana Pacers with Reggie Miller or with Paul George, teams that didn't get it done. The 76ers with Allen Iverson, a team that didn't get it done. Now, granted, they had obstacles, huge obstacles. I mean, you're talking about either LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, or Michael Jordan in all those cases. But the Dodgers, their obstacle would have been themselves, honestly. Yeah, the Nationals got hot at the right time and won the World Series. Yeah, they had to deal with the Cardinals a lot of times, but now they got in and they got a team. Here comes the Padres, a young team that hasn't 100% figured out, but they will. And when they do, look out because I think this team will put together a couple of championships. To me, it's like Warriors and Clippers. The Clippers didn't get it done. They're a team in history. Like what happened? But that's what happened. And Mike and Ted are in the comments talking about the guaranteed contracts. As Mike said, that's a lot of guaranteed money. Unlike football and Mahomes, Ted says Tatis fully guaranteed. Fully guaranteed. NFL, step your game up and guarantee these contracts. I'm 100% with you. It says guaranteed contracts all the way, but all the way happens when pigs fly. That's what Mike Patton says. It's unfortunate, but because I mean, football players are going out there putting their bodies on the line. And it's crazy because I believe the sport is bringing in way more money. Yeah, this is a fun fact. I read this the other day, and I'm gonna go ahead and present this on the screen and also read it, Ted. And that's Fernando Tatis will be under contract until 2035. Bobby Bonilla in 2035, he will still be getting a check from the New York Mets. Wow. That is funny. That's funny when you're really thinking about it. Shout out to Bobby Bonilla's agent, man. You gotta give shout out to these agents who can get these deals done. A lot of people don't think that, like, how you gonna get this done, whatever, whatever. He got it done. Bobby Bonilla's paid, and he's getting $1 million. For those who do not know, Bobby Bonilla, former Oriole, former Marlin, he's actually won a championship with the Marlins, former Met. He got so many millions of dollars. I'm not sure the total amount, but they extended the contract. Every July 1st, Bobby Bonilla gets a check for $1 million. His agent, like Mike Patton said, is the GOAT, greatest of all time. That is the type, if I was ever to do sports agency, that is the type of agent I want to be. Because I'm pretty sure he getting paid every year as well. Maybe he's not. Maybe he got all his, the power of compounding. And unfortunately, my Baltimore Orioles, they're in a similar situation because they will be paying somebody. Yeah, man. They'll be paying Chris Davis for a very long time in a similar situation. I think Bobby Bonilla's contract will still be going on by the time Davis is finished being paid. It's unfortunate for them because at one point Davis was the most powerful hitter in the game, or I should say, the biggest home run hitter in the game. Unfortunately, he never finished that, never fully lived up to the hype as far as bringing it home. So that's unfortunate for him. And the Orioles never won the World Series. Never. And then and I remember when that was happening. Here I was rooting. Yeah, pay Davis, pay Davis. Well, we saw where that got us. But folks, that'll do it for this episode of the Main Event Status Sports Show. Make sure you subscribe to Haps TV. And if you're interested in being a broadcaster, I got you. Hit me up. I'll give you the link to join. Make sure you follow that link. And make sure but check out this app. It's one of the greatest apps on the interweb. So make sure you check it out. They don't teach finance classes like that. Shout out to contract law professors. And that's from Ted Hicks, Ted, Mike, and everybody else. Thank you for joining. Mark, thank you for joining this episode of the Main Event Status Sports Show.